Hello traders, I am Stephen Davis, Senior Market Strategist, RJO Futures, here to talk to you about commodity markets, the grain markets in particular. We'll start with corn this morning. Corn is being supported by strong buying in soybeans. Demand is the key here. I've been saying this for a couple of weeks now, and the USDA came out this week in our May crop report on Tuesday clarifying this. 535 million bushel uptick in demand from corn from the USDA. This is impressive. So this really sets the tone now. Corn is going to be very sensitive to weather snafus this summer during our growing season. You know, demand. I was reading about Costco, and they cut a deal with Pilgrim Pride for their chicken, and it was so many hundreds of millions of pounds of chicken, and it was like a third of what Costco uses. So this demand for chicken and pork and beef and cattle in our country, for soybean meal and corn, it's just astounding, and we're going to keep talking about it. It's a very good demand story. Okay, soybeans. Same thing this week, the USDA. Big demand uptick in soybean demand. So U.S. soybean crush, U.S. soybean exports increased by the USDA in significant numbers. And certainly Argentina, the biggest soybean meal shipper in the world today, and they've got some issues over there with their harvest and too much water and rain, and we just don't know where we're at right now with Argentina's soybean and soybean meal supply. The soybean market now, it's led by soybean meal. These are the strongest soybean markets we've ever had in the history of our great country when they're led by soybean meals. So the last 4 weeks, the funds have bought 84,000 contracts of soybean meal. That's a lot. So we'll keep talking about that. Traders in here in the Midwest now, it is very wet in northern Illinois. We just had a deluge of rain, and it's wet across the Corn Belt, so we're going to see some acres shift from corn to soybean. So the way the weather looks right here, right now, maybe bullish for corn, bearish for soybeans. And certainly with new crop soybeans above $10 plus, this is just screaming to buy more soybean acres here going forward. So we'll be talking about that in the weeks ahead. Okay, China and the Chinese, what a torrid last 2 months in commodity trading over there in China. China has 2 commodity exchanges, and I was reading somewhere where 16 of the most active, most high volume commodity contracts in the world are on the Chinese exchanges. So the Chinese, they're gamblers. They love to bet on everything. And 2 years ago, the Chinese regulators crimped down on their equity and their stock trading. So here we're seeing commodities just really explode. There's a rebar steel contract in China. There's an iron ore contract that are just exploding. So a couple of things. Remember, we don't trade according to the headlines. And number 2 is leverage can work for you and against you. So keep an eye on that. And the Chinese, a lot of times their markets lead us. Other days, U.S. markets lead China, and then China doesn't follow. So it's important to follow along on this, and we'll keep talking about it. Everybody have an excellent weekend. Thank you. Futures and options on futures may involve substantial risk and may not be suitable for all investors.